Okay. So how do we gather information? And this part I think is, just an easy acronym to remember. We are basically in awe, right? Like we want to gather information judgment free. And I love this quote from Dr. Dana Childress. She says, remain curious. To do this, you must not only be mindful, another typo, mindful about how you ask questions and how you respond to the caregiver, you must also monitor your own thoughts and behaviors. When you feel judgment creep in, acknowledge it and let it go. So remember, we're getting information from all different types of families all the time, every day. And it's just informing us, right? Informing us about priorities. But parents are more likely to build that trust with us when they know it's a safe place to share. So we can remain in awe. We can present questions by asking and then waiting and giving sufficient time. Really utilize that same strategy that we encourage parents to do with their own children of presenting an opportunity and waiting for the child to maybe say something, do something, initiate something, right? So we're going to do the same. We can let a question, tell me how this is going. Parent starts talking, and like if we sense there's maybe more, it's okay to wait. Or I love one of our members, Lisa Katzman. She always say something like, "Tell me more about that." Right? Giving the parent time to go a little bit deeper with what they want to share, and so that they can expand, and we can really get to the most critical things to the parent, what's most important, what's really coming up for them, what's on their mind, and then we can support them with the information that we give. Sharing just the right amount. We know based on adult learning principles that sharing too much information is often really overwhelming for adults. So breaking information down into chunks, maybe on the first visit, we present some information. On the next visit, we might expand or elaborate on that. And then, keep it relevant. So we're staying on the parent's priority, on the child's development, on what we're working on. And, because like I said, sometimes I watch these visits and it'll be like 30 minutes of information sharing and we're getting off on irrelevant topics. So just watch yourself and think like, okay, am I still on track for what we want to get to the rest of this visit? And then as always, follow up if there's something that the parent wanted more information about.
I have a question, kind of going off what you were saying earlier, because I know that like too much information can be overwhelming to a family. But I know how this strategy helps this other strategy, and they all kind of like play together. So I know that's an area I'm definitely working on of like which strategy, and I guess like just asking the family like what strategy is most important to them. But I mean, if they don't know all the different strategies, like then and I know some families are so eager, they just want everything all at once. So I'm having a hard time, I guess, navigating that space of how much information um is, like what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is something a lot of us can probably relate to. I have this video that I'm thinking of, one of the first ones I ever videotaped, and I watched this whole feeding routine and then I like basically recited all the things the parents could do. It's like, sure, there's a lot of things we could do, but like it was just information overload. I think one of the things that I've gotten a little bit better about is just reflecting in action. So in the moment, being like, as I'm sharing one thing, sort of checking in, like, how does that feel? I have some more ideas, but should we try that first? Is that overwhelming? And just sort of sensing like if they want you to keep offering ideas, or I've now gravitated towards like less is more, because if we just do a little bit and it's great and we can generalize it to multiple routines, then I find the parent feels more confident and okay, great, I got it. And I just rather them feel more confident and then build on that. Like that's going well. Do you want to try some more? Do you want to try another strategy? And sort of just walking through it together. But I have to cut myself off because even right now, have to cut myself off. Like I want to hear what you think based on what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, and like that does make sense, and I guess we have to meet the family where they're at, because some families are going to be able to handle maybe three or four strategies at the same time because they've got all the headspace and they've got that motivation. And then other families we're meeting them in a state of overwhelm, difficult emotions, so they can only handle just a little bit. So I guess that kind of makes sense, and asking, checking in, okay, we did this, how does it feel? And do you want me to model it? Because sometimes they're not even ready to participate. So no, that makes sense, kind of that give and take between the families and us, and what feels right.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely feel like other people are resonating with what you're sharing, though. I've definitely felt that balance is sometimes beautiful, like a dance, and then other times it's like I feel like I'm leading too much or I'm not offering enough. Maybe they felt, and so again, just being as transparent and reflective in action, I think can be helpful. Ali says in the chat, I love the phrasing. I have some ideas, but I want to hear your take first. Right, or like what you might try here or what I love that. The parent then usually shares an idea, question, strategy, and stops me from dumping info or guides to share something very relevant. Thank you, Ali. A lot of people are hearting your message. Wonderful.